Skagen, IPA, Danish pronunciation, ʻsɡæːɪn, is Denmark's northernmost town and the area surrounding it, occasionally known in English as the Scaw. It is situated on the east coast of the Skagen Odde peninsula in the far north of Jutland. It is part of Frederikshavn Municipality in Region Nordjylland. It is located 41 kilometres, 25 miles, north of Frederikshavn and 108 kilometres, 67 miles, northeast of Aalborg. With its well-developed harbour, Skagen is Denmark's main fishing port and also has a thriving tourist industry, attracting some 2 million people annually. Originally the name was applied to the peninsula, but it now usually refers to the town itself. The settlement began in the Middle Ages as a fishing village, renowned for its herring industry, thanks to its seascapes, Fisherman and evening light. Towards the end of the 19th century it became popular with a group of Impressionist artists now known as the Skagen Painters. In 1879, the Skagen Fishermen's Association was established with the purpose of facilitating the local fishing industry through the Skagensbanen railway, which opened as a narrow-gauged railway in 1890. The modern port of Skagen opened on 20 November 1907, and with the railway connections to Frederikshavn and the rest of Denmark, tourism began to develop. In the early 1910s, Christian X and Queen Alexandrine often visited Skagen and brought friends from other European monarchies. They built the summer residence ๊sɡæːɪn, completed in 1914. Between the 1930s and 1950s the town grew rapidly, with the population more than doubling from 4,048 in 1930 to 9,009 in 1955. Skagen reached a peak population of 14,050 in 1980, after which it gradually declined. As of 1 January 2014 it has a population of 8,198. Thanks to the artistic community which still remains in Skagen, the local arts and crafts trade remains important to the income of the town, with its numerous crafts shops and galleries. Chains such as the international jeweler Skagen Designs have branches in the town. And given the abundance of fresh fish coming in at the port of Skagen, seafood forms a staple in Skagen's restaurants. St. Lawrence's Church was built just outside the village at the end of the 14th century. But after it was buried in drifting sand it was replaced by Skagen Church in 1841, designed by Christian Frederik Hansen. It was redeveloped in 1909-10 by Ulrik Plesner, who also designed a number of other buildings in Skagen, including ๊sɡæːɪn and the railway station. Several landmarks in the town are closely associated with the Skagen Painters who used to frequent them, including Brøndum's Hotel, Skagen's Museum, Michael and Anna Ranch's house, and Drachmann's house. Skagen's first school was the Latin Skole, a grammar school, which was in operation from 1549 until 1739. By the end of the 19th century, 3 schools had been established in Skagen, and in 1921, Skagen's Skipper School was opened to train navigators for both fishing boats and merchant ships. And in 1955, the public school Ânkemedet Skole was opened on Skagavay, the primary gymnasium of the town. Skagen Culture og Fritidscenter opened in 1972. And was later expanded with an aquatic center and a number of smaller training facilities. Skagen's Sports Center was completed in 1974, primary to accommodate badminton and tennis. The local football club, Skagen Idrætsklubb, was founded in 1946 and plays in Sjællandsserien, one of the lower divisions in Danish football. The HVKLIT Golf Club is located some 17 kilometers, 11 miles, south of the town. Skagen Station is the most northerly railway station in mainland Denmark and is the terminus of the Skagensbanen. Nordiske Jernbaner operates the local train service between Skagen and Frederikshavn with onward national connections by DSB. From Frederikshavn, there are ferries to Gothenburg and Oslo. Aalborg Airport, with flights to destinations across Europe, is located some 100 kilometres (62 miles) southwest of Skagen. As in other Danish cities, cycling is popular. History. Early history. Skagen was mentioned as far back as the 1st century AD by Pliny the Elder. Pro Menturium Cimbrorum excurrens in Maria Longe Peninsula officiat quae tastris appellatur. Book IV. 97. The promontory of the Cimbri running far out into the seas makes a peninsula, which is called Tastris. Quote, "This is the only time the name Tastris is mentioned, but Skagen itself, first documented as ßɡæːɪn in 1284, simply means narrow promontory." The first building in the area, dating from the 12th century, was in Holjen on the west side of the peninsula. It belonged to Tronda, a shepherd who also became Skagen's first fisherman. Around 1340, Vesterby, on the east coast, to the southwest of today's harbour, developed into the main village. Further to the southwest, St. Lawrence's Church was built at the end of the 14th century. In 1413, Eric of Pommern granted Skagen the status of market town, with the result that for a time it became then Sicil's largest community with up to 2,000 inhabitants. In 1549 a grammar school was opened, closing again in 1739. And in 1561 Skagen's first lighthouse was constructed. In 1568, some 350 fishing boats and merchant ships were wrecked off the coast of Skagen. In the 1590s, successive storms led not only to numerous drownings but to flooding, destroying many of the houses. In 1591, 22 died in a flood, and in 1593, 14 houses were washed away. In 1595, 25 farms in the area were covered in drifting sand. As a result, new housing was built in Osterby to the northeast, away from the rapidly accumulating sand. 17th–19th centuries. In the 17th century, fishing suffered from a decline in herring stocks. Shortly after the beginning of the Torstenson War, the Swedish army arrived in Skagen in January 1644, plundering the town. Skagen's White Lighthouse with adjoining accommodation for the keeper was built in 1747. In 1775, accumulations of drifting sand made it difficult to access St. Lawrence's Church, finally leading to its closure and partial demolition in 1795. Its remaining artifacts were sold by auction in 1810. St. Lawrence's was replaced by Skagen Church, completed in 1841 and redesigned in the local style by Ulrich Plesner in 1910. On a single day in 1825, 23 ships were left stranded off the coast. In 1833, Martinus Rorby became the first artist to paint the fishermen and landscapes of Skagen. Almost half a century before the arrival of the Skagen Painters, Skagen Church was inaugurated in 1841, and the first guest house in the town opened in 1844. In 1858, the Grey Lighthouse was inaugurated. The same year, bylaws were established specifying building requirements, including the completion of tiled roofs. Within 5 years, Skagen was struck by the cholera epidemic of 1853. Hans Christian Andersen visited the town in 1859. During his stay at Brøndum's Hotel, the future painter Anna Ancher, daughter of the innkeeper, was born. In 1871, The author Holger Drachmann and the painters Fritz Thaulow and Karl Madsen arrived in Skagen, the first of a colony of artists which became known as the Skagen Painters. They were followed by Carl Locher in 1872, Michael Ancher in 1874 and Peder Severin Krøyer in 1882. In 1879, the Skagen Fishermen's Association was established with the purpose of facilitating the local fishing industry through the railway. In 1890, the Skagensbanen narrow-gauge railway from Frederikshavn finally arrived in Skagen, connecting the town to the rest of Denmark. The tracks were widened in 1916 to avoid the need to transfer cargoes of fish in Frederikshavn. Many of the town's typical yellow plastered houses with red roofs which grew up along St. Laurent VJ from 1890 to 1930 were designed by Ulrik Plesner. He was also the architect behind many other buildings in the town, including the railway station, Brøndum's Hotel and Skagen Museum. Skagen Missionshus was opened in 1896. 20th century. In 1904–7, the fishing harbour was built with inner and outer sections under the patronage of hydraulic engineer Paul Bruin. It was inaugurated on 20 November 1907, and later additions were made for cold storage and the fish processing industry. The distinctive warehouses next to the harbour were designed by Thorvald Bindersbøll. In the early 1910s, Christian X and Queen Alexandrine often visited Skagen in the royal yacht Kongeskib at Dannebrog. Occasionally they arrived by train and brought friends from other European monarchies and stayed at the Brøndums and Grenaan hotels. They grew fond of the place, befriending many of the artists in Skagen. Christian X bought up land in the vicinity and built the summer residence ๊sɡæːɪn as a gift for his wife, designed by Ulrik Plesner, with furniture provided by Marie Krøyer. The villa was inaugurated on the 11th of April 1914, with the town celebrating the royal opening with many flags. ๊sɡæːɪn was further embellished inside by local artists. It passed to Prince Knud and Princess Caroline Mathilde, and after Caroline's death in 1995, it was converted into a villa retreat for scholars in 2000. Composer Carl Nielsen also frequented Skagen in his youth, and he purchased a plot of land on Vesterstrandvej at Vesterby in 1918 with his sculptor wife, Anne-Marie Carl Nielsen, using one of the two small half-timbered houses there as a residence and studio. They named it Finisterre, meaning end of the world. The Nielsen family owned the property until 1957 when they sold it to Frode Jensen, a machinery manufacturer. In the 1930s, development of the town as a tourist attraction led to the opening of new hotels. In 1931, the residents of Skagen and their famous friends campaigned for a monument to be established on the square in the town, commemorating the fishermen and lifeboatmen of Jutland. Anne-Marie Carl Nielsen was commissioned to erect a 3 meters (9.8 feet) bronze statue of a lifeboatman in garb, holding a lifeline. The monument was showcased at the Free Exhibition Hall in Copenhagen in the spring of 1931, before fundraising enabled it to be brought by sea to Skagen on 10 November 1932. In October 1938, lightning struck the Skagensbanen Hotel, affecting the wing with the salons and music rooms. During World War II, the hotel was taken over by the Germans, until it was demolished in 1943. Further facilities were developed in the 1950s. From the 1960s, housing estates were constructed to the north, forming a built-up area extending to Højen. Anna and Michael Ancher's house was opened as a museum, 1967, and the new town hall was completed in 1969. The Skagen Festival was founded in 1971. making it the oldest music festival in the country. The primary genre is folk music. In 1977, Drachman's house was broken into and 4 paintings were stolen. And then in 1980, a painting by Christian Krogh was stolen from Skagen's museum. Several fires and industrial incidents occurred in the 1980s. In 1981, an oil slick affected the coastline of Skagen Municipality. And in 1985 a pipe bomb exploded at Ankermedet School. Skagen Ice Factory was affected by a chemical incident in 1989. A new shrimp factory opened in the industrial area in 1991. While the local cinema was closed in 1993. There was a major fire on the ๊sɡæːɪn dunes in 1996. Skagen Painters. The Skagen Painters were a group of Scandinavian artists who visited the area every summer from the late 1870s until the turn of the century. They were attracted by the scenery, the fishermen and the quality of light which encouraged them to paint on plein air following the example of the French Impressionists while sometimes adopting the realist approach of the Barbizon school. They broke away from the rigid traditions of the Danish and Swedish art academies, preferring the modern trends they had experienced in Paris. The group was reputed to have adopted a bohemian lifestyle. It encompassed not only painters, but also writers, and other influential people. While only a few were full-time residents of the area, they were often joined by family and friends, especially during the summer months. The group initially revolved around Michael Ancher and his wife Tobiana, the only member of the group who was a native of Skagen. P.S. Krøyer, who arrived in 1882, was perhaps the most colorful member of the group. His painting Hip, Hip, Hurrah shows several of the artists celebrating around a table out in the garden. The painters included the Swedes Oscar Björk and Johan Krauthen, the Norwegians Christian Krogh and Elif Petersen, and the Danes Carl Madsen, Lauritz Tuxen, Marie Trypke Krøyer Alfen, Carl Locker, Viggo Johansson and Thorvald Nis. The group also included the writers Holger Drachmann, Georg Brandes and Henrik Pontoppidan and the Swedish composer Hugo Alfen. They often gathered in Brøndum's Hotel, whose dining room now forms part of Skagen's museum. In 1890, the railway to Skagen not only led to the expansion of the village but also brought in considerable numbers of tourists. It was largely responsible for breaking up the regular summer meetings of the artists' colony as they could no longer find suitable accommodation and venues for their meetings. However, some of them purchased homes in Skagen. P.S. Krøyer in 1894. Lauritz Tuxen in 1901. Holger Drachmann in 1903. Anna and Michael Ancher. Krøyer and Tuxen continued to paint in Skagen until well into the 20th century and were occasionally joined by their earlier friends. Other painters, sometimes referred to as the younger group of Skagen Painters, continued to visit the area. They included Jørgen Arby, Tupsy and Gad Fredrik Clement, Ella Hyde, Frederick Longy and Johannes Wilhelm, some of whom settled in the area until the 1930s or even later. Skagen's museums has a large collection of works from all the recognized artists who painted in Skagen. Geography. Skagen is Denmark's northernmost town, located 41 kilometres, 25 miles, north of Frederikshavn, 108 kilometres, 67 miles, northeast of Aalborg, and 226 kilometres, 140 miles, northeast of Aarhus by road. It takes its name from the peninsula which projects into the waters between the North Sea and the Straits of Denmark. The oldest areas lie along the south coast. Gammel Skagen, Old Skagen, also known as ๊sɡæːɪn, is located next to Nordstrand on the western side. Vesterby and Osterby are notable for the little fishermen's cottages and narrow streets. Danish National Road 40 to Frederikshavn passes through Skagen. The Skagen Odde Peninsula is bordered by Aalborg Bay, Aalborg to the east on the Kattegat and Tannis Bay, Tannis to the west on the Skagerrak. The area is picturesque and distinguished by its low, yellow houses with red tile roofs nestled into the beach areas. The wild landscape was largely formed by a severe process of desertification in the 18th and 19th centuries. Problems with moving dunes and desertification were subsequently brought under control in the latter 19th and early 20th centuries by establishing large plantations of grasses, bushes and fir trees. Two significant migratory dunes remain in the area, one of which is the enormous Råbjerg. Climate. Being surrounded by the sea in three directions, Skagen has a cool oceanic climate with a lack of temperature extremes. Its maritime and moderated characteristics is shared with the rest of the country. Skagen is Denmark's sunniest town with an average of 233 hours of sunshine in the holiday month of July, higher than the 222 hours recorded for Bornholm's Østers. Demographics. The population of Skagen has mostly grown steadily, reaching a peak of 14,050 people in 1980, but has shown a marked decline in the 21st century. In 1672 Skagen had a population of 1,004, but by 1781 this had declined to 650. The 1801 population of 834 began to grow significantly in subsequent decades, reaching 1,052 people in 1824 and jumping to 1,632 by 1840. By 1850, however, it had dropped to 1,400, after which it again began to grow steadily. Major growth occurred in the 1870s and 1880s, with the population growing from 1,615 in 1870 to 1,954 in 1880 and 2,323 inhabitants in 1890. Several of the new inhabitants were artists, who significantly altered the ethnic composition of Skagen, as they brought their friends and families from abroad to join the colony at Skagen. Noticeable change occurred between 1901 and 1906, when the population grew from 2,438 to 2,936, and again in the late 1910, growing from 3,212 in 1916 to 3,854 in 1921. Major growth began to take place in the 1930s and 1940s in Skagen, which grew from 4,048 inhabitants in 1930 to 5,358 in 1940. Skagen's population more than doubled between 1930 and 1955 when it reached a population of 9,009. By 1960, Skagen had 10,213 inhabitants, growing to 11,253 in 1965. Following a municipal merger in 1971, the population jumped from 11,749 to 13,513. Thereafter the population grew very steadily, reaching a peak of 14,050 in 1980. There has since been a steady decline, with 13,724 people recorded in 1990, 13,298 in 1994, and 12,691 in 2000. In the 2000s, the permanent population of Skagen has shown a marked decline, falling from 12,213 in 2003 to just 8,220 inhabitants as of the 1st of January 2013. Economy. For generations, Skagen's economy has been based on its fishing industry, which continues to prosper today, facilitated by its fishing harbour, the largest in Denmark. Skagen also has the country's main herring processing facility and the world's largest fish oil factory. The town's evolving fishing industry led to considerable growth in the local population, which reached some 11,500 in the 1960s. A fish auction is held at dawn in the harbour, and between May and October the harbour also attracts yachting enthusiasts. Tourism has now become the town's main industry. Initially attracted by its associations with the Skagen Painters, well-to-do visitors sought to benefit from its special light, color and its fishermen. Their interest led to new hotels, summer houses and expensive villas. The old fishing village was transformed into a miniature city with fine streets lined with boutiques. From the 1960s, it became increasingly fashionable for the upper classes to spend their summers in Skagen. Galleries selling local art and reproductions of Skagen's most iconic paintings have spread across the town, making it one of the places in Denmark with most galleries. Thanks to the town's growing reputation, sailing enthusiasts from Norway, Sweden and Denmark are now also among its frequent visitors. The quality brand name of Skagen has spread far afield, resulting in the establishment of the successful American watch company Skagen Designs, which set out to create a design-driven company centered around the welcoming spirit of the city. Currently a new tourist initiative, the Top of Denmark, targets Skagen as a year-round attraction, not just a summer resort. The harbour is also being adapted to accommodate large international cruise ships. A new 450-metre berth will be completed by 2015, while the existing 170-metre berth will be extended to 200 metres. Skagen now attracts some 2 million visitors a year to its hotels, restaurants, shops and galleries, making tourism a major source of income and employment. An annual attraction is the Skagen Festival, Denmark's oldest music festival, which is held the first weekend of July at various venues in Skagen and the harbour area. The largest campsite in the Skagen area is ๊sɡæːɪn camping, situated about 1.5 kilometres (0.93 miles) northeast of the centre, adjacent to the beach. Until 2007, Skagen was a municipality in its own right with a substantial local administration. With the reforms of 2007, it became part of Frederikshavn Municipality with a resulting loss in administrative jobs. The Bank of Skagen was established in 1862, and in 1865 a telegraph station was established in the town. The pharmacy opened in 1904, a hospital in 1916, and telephone services were automated in 1956. Ankermadet School was established in 1955. Recently, Skagen has seen developments in the offshore sector with an initiative to assist the Norwegian market through the establishment of Skagen Offshore Park in 2012. On the shipbuilding front, Skagensbanen continues to prosper with orders for trawlers from Norway. Currently the harbour is being enlarged in order to accommodate larger vessels, especially cruise ships. From 2015 the enlarged harbour is expected to attract up to 40 large cruise ships per year, compared to about a dozen smaller ships at present. The new harbour should provide new jobs, increasing the workforce in the harbour from 2,000 today to some 2,600 on completion. Skagensbanen, Danish yacht, and the herring processing firm Skagerrak are reported to be the most successful companies in Skagen, but the town is also home to FF Skagen, the world's top producer of fish meal and fish oil, shops and restaurants. Thanks to Skagen's reputation as an artistic community, The local arts and crafts trade is also an important source of income and employment. Artwork and handicrafts are sold in galleries such as the Gallery Skagen on Tronsvej, St. Laurent Vej. One of the main streets away from the harbour area in Skagen is known for its glass and pottery shops. Of particular note are Skagen Glasverksted, which produces some of Jutland's finest glass pieces, and Skagen Pottery. In addition to its arts and crafts stores, the town has a wide range of shops, including jewelry, clothes and shoes, handbags, souvenirs, flowers and gardening equipment. There are also a variety of food stores with butchers, bakers, a cheese shop, fishmongers, and several restaurants and café. Skagen has a 1,000 square meters, 11,000 square feet, branch of the Eurospar supermarket, opened in 1998. Skagen Cementstøberi AS is a local cement firm which produces concrete, paving stones, tiles, granite and other items. Given the abundance of fresh fish coming in at the port of Skagen, seafood forms a staple of cuisine in Skagen. Of particular note is the Skagen Fisk restaurant, one of the most renowned seafood restaurants in Jutland, which was established in 1907 at the side of the harbour. It serves shrimp, herring, grilled fillets of sole with lemon sauce and Norwegian lobster. Ruth's Gourmet and Ruth's Hotel on Hans Ruth Vej is also of note and has been cited to be one of the top 5 restaurants in Denmark outside of Copenhagen, serving French cuisine under head chef Michel Michaud. Ruth's Hotel was originally built by Emma and Hans Christian Ruth in 1904 as a bath and guest house. It was purchased by J. Philip Sorensen in 2003. The restaurant Pakisset, the restaurant of the Brøndums Hotel, and Jacob's Café are also popular. Jacob's Café is a music venue and bar at night. True foodies are also bound to visit the famous butcher, Slagter Munch, who is known for their sausages and for their ham. Skagen ådde. Landmarks. Northern headland and lighthouses. At the headland at ๊sɡæːɪn, the northernmost point of Denmark, the North Sea and the Baltic Sea meet. Because of their different densities, a clear dividing line can be seen. As a result of turbulent seas, beachings and shipwrecks were common. These frequent losses combined with the town's strategic location as the gateway to the Baltic led to Skagen being the site of one of Denmark's earliest lighthouses, Vipperfyr, a lever light constructed in 1627. A faithful copy has now been constructed on the site of the original. The White Lighthouse, det Hvide just north of the town, is Denmark's oldest brick-built lighthouse, with a height of 21 meters, 69 feet. It was designed by Philip de Lange and lit for the first time in 1747. In 1858, it was replaced by the Grey Lighthouse, det Grafyr, 2 kilometers further north. Restored in 1960, the White Lighthouse now houses art exhibitions, churches. The old village church from the 14th century is now known as the sand-covered church, as only its tower can still be seen. Sand began drifting in from Rabjerg Mile around 1600. The area surrounding the church becoming affected by the desertification which destroyed the fields. In 1775, the church door had to be dug free for the congregation to be able to attend the service. And for the following 20 years, the Skageners struggled to keep the church free from sand, without being allowed to close it down. In 1795 the church was closed by royal decree and the body of the church demolished. A new church was built in 1841, to the design of Christian Frederik Hansen. The design was adapted in 1909-10 by Ulrik Plesner, who also designed a number of other buildings in Skagen. Plesner collaborated with Thorvald Binderspol on the interior. Anne L. Hansen created interior decorations and a new color scheme in 1989. A highlight of the year is the celebration of Midsummer Eve Street. John's Evening, Sankt Hans Afton, on the beach with blazing bonfire and song. Museums equals Skagen's museum equals. Towards the end of the 19th century, Skagen became the summer venue of a group of artists who were attracted by the way of life in the fishing village and by the opportunities for painting the fishermen and surrounding landscapes. Skagen's museum was founded on 20 October 1908 in the dining room at Brondum's Hotel. Among the founders were artists Michael Ancher, P.S. Krøyer and Laurits Tuxen, who were elected to form the first board of governors together with Victor Christian Kleibel, the local pharmacist, and D.G.N. Brondum, who was the proprietor of Brondum's Hotel and brother of Anna Ancher. In 1982, the exhibition rooms were extended with an annex designed by the royal surveyor, architect Jacob Blegvad. Blegvad also planned the later extension to the museum that was inaugurated in 1989. Today Skagen's museum has more than 1,900 works of art at its disposal. Michael and Anna Ancher's house equals. The former residence of the two painters dates from 1884 and was expanded with a studio designed by Ulrich Plesner in 1913. Their only child, Helga Ancher, who died in 1964, left the property to a foundation for conversion into a museum, opened to the public in 1967. The house contains much of the original furniture, preserving the atmosphere of the artist's home, together with the adjacent 18th-century Saxold house, Saxildsgård. It displays many of the Anchers' paintings as well as those of their artist friends. Saxold House frequently hosts exhibitions, mainly of works belonging to Helga Ancher's foundation. Drachmann's House equals. Drachmann's House on Hans Bas Vej in the west of the town is a large property built in 1829. Now a museum. It is dedicated to the writer and marine painter Holger Drachmann, who lived in the house from 1902 until his death in a sanatorium in Hornbach in January 1908. Drachmann had regularly visited Skagen from 1871. Drachmann's house, first opened to the public on 4 June 1911, offers a collection not only of his own oil paintings and sketchbooks, but also of paintings from the colony's other artists including Krøyer, Tuxen and the Anchers. An annex contains a photographic exhibition about Drachmann. Every year, the house hosts a Drachmann evening, in which enthusiasts gather together to hear readings, oral presentations and music related to the writer's life and works. Teddy Bear Museum equals. In central Skagen there is a teddy bear museum, Skagen Bamse Museum. The teddy bears on display belong to the private collection of the owner Jonathan æsɡæːɪn. It is the only teddy bear museum in Scandinavia. Opened in 1998. The collection contains about 1,000 bears of all kinds, some of historic value. The museum also has a sculptured garden, an ice cafe and a teddy bear shop. Special events are arranged at Easter and Christmas. Skagen Odde Nature Centre equals. The Skagen Odde Nature Centre, located close to the northern tip of the peninsula, is a museum specially built to allow visitors to see, hear and understand more about the area's sand, water, wind and light. Each of the pavilions presents one of these elements in a special atmosphere. Designed by Jornutsen, it is the most northerly building on Skagen Odde. Skagen Town and Regional Museum equals. Skagen Town and Regional Museum. Skagen Biogen Museum, an open-air museum, was opened by the local population in 1927. In 1938 it was moved to the sand dunes of Vesterby. The museum brings together examples of fishermen's cottages and the homes of less fortunate inhabitants of Skagen in the middle of the 19th century. There is an old life-saving station, a smithy, an old Dutch windmill, pictures of ships in distress and related nautical artifacts, as well as a collection of items illustrating the town's history over various periods. Education. Skagen's first school was the Latin School, a grammar school, which was in operation from 1549 until 1739. By the end of the 19th century, 3 schools had been established in Skagen, one in Vesterby, another in Osterby and a third in Holjen. As a result of evolving legislation, a new public primary school, Borgerskolen, designed by A. Hornstrup, was completed in 1901. A gymnasium was added in 1909, but in 1924 it was converted into classrooms to accommodate the growing number of pupils. A secondary school, Realskolen, was opened in 1904 behind the former local authority building on St. Laurenti VJ. The secondary school was later moved next to the primary school, and in 1948 the buildings were extended. An additional 2-story wing was completed in 1969. In 1921, Skagen's skipper school was opened to train navigators for both fishing boats and merchant ships. It is now the only remaining skipper school in Denmark, with some 100 students from the whole of Scandinavia and 15 staff. In 2012, the school moved into new premises close to the Kattegat. In 1955, the Folkskole Ankermidlets Skål was opened on Skagavay, initially with 483 pupils and 16 classes. It has been extended several times over the years, most recently when a new wing was added in 2003. The private school Brovandeskolen, a so-called free school, opened in 1977 for parents wishing to offer their children a new pedagogical approach. A primary goal is active cooperation between pupils, teachers and parents. Sport. Skagen's sports centre dates from 1974, when its large hall was completed. A smaller hall with bedrooms was built in 1999. The centre has facilities for badminton, basketball, handball, hockey and tennis in addition to its football fields. Overnight accommodation is also available. Skagen Idrætsklub, the local football club founded in 1946, plays in Jyllandsserien, one of the lower divisions in Denmark's football system. Skagen also has a badminton club and a tennis club. The HVKLIT Golf Club is located some 17 kilometres, 11 miles, south of the town on the road to Aalborg. In season, it is popular with tourists. Transport. Railway. The Skagen line connects Skagen with Frederikshavn station in Frederikshavn to the south. Nordiske Jernbaner operates a frequent train service between Skagen and Frederikshavn, with onward connections by DSB to the rest of Denmark. Skagen Station, the most northerly railway station in mainland Denmark, is the principal station of the town. Skagen's first station, opened in 1890, was designed by Thomas Arbo. The current building, completed in 1919, is the work of the architect Ulrik Plesner. The western part of Skagen is also served by the Frederikshavnsvej railway halt. Bus. In the summer, there are buses from Skagen to Blokhus via Hirtshals. Ferry. From Frederikshavn, there are ferries to Gothenburg and Oslo. From Hirtshals, there are ferries to Stavanger, Bergen, Larvik, Faroe Islands and Langersund. Airport. Aalborg Airport, with flights to destinations across Europe, is located some 100 kilometers, 62 miles, southwest of Skagen. It can be reached by rail and metro road. Skagen lies along Danish National Road 40, also known as Frederikshavnsvej, which connects the town to Frederikshavn via Aalborg to the southeast. The stretch of the road between Skagen and Aalborg was asphalted in 1932. Hirtshals on the western side of the peninsula can be reached by taking Road 597 from Aalborg. The Bodlevergen Road is the main skirt road around the town to the north, along which lies the Skagen Odde Nature Centre. In the peak season during the summer months, Skagen can become congested with traffic. Free parking facilities are provided for short periods, and there is also a metered car park near the train station. As in other Danish cities, cycling is popular, and Skagen cykeludlægning, to the west of the train station, and Pedersen on Kapelborg rent out bikes to tourists. There are a number of interesting marked cycle routes in and around Skagen. These include circuits for mountain bikes. Notable people among those born in Skagen are Lars Kruse, 1828–1894, fisherman and heroic lifesaver; Degen Brondum, 1856–1932, proprietor of Brondum's Hotel, frequented the Skagen Painters; Anna Ancher, 1859–1935, the only member of the Skagen Painters actually born in Skagen; Amalie Clausen, 1859–1950, artistic photographer; Ulrik Plesner, 1861–1933, the architect who gave Skagen its distinctive look; Paul Bruin, 1873–1910, the hydraulic engineer who designed Skagen's fishing harbour; Helga Catherine Ancher, 1883–1964, Danish painter, daughter of Anna Ancher and Michael Ancher; Sturla Gudlaugsson, 1913–1971, Danish-born Dutch art historian and director of the Arcadie and the Mauritshuis in The Hague; Viggo Jensen, 1921–2005, footballer, played professionally for Hull City A.F.C. 1949–1956. Hanna Marie Svensson, born 1933, Danish writer and former broadcasting executive; David Nielsen, born 1976, footballer, current manager of Lyngby Bold Club; Camilla Reiter Juhl, born 1983, badminton player; Marianne Gajhed Knudsen, born 1984, footballer; Nikolai Thomsen, born 1993, Danish footballer, plays for F.C. Copenhagen; Linus Ingard Larsen, born 1996, known mononymously as Line, is a Danish singer. All the painters, writers and other members of the artists' colony also have close associations with Skagen. Twin towns: Qingdao, China; Sinojyrki, Finland; Sisimiut, Greenland; Chendering, Malaysia; Farsund, Norway; Kristinum, Sweden. See also Skagensbanen, Grennen. Bibliography: Ancher, Michael; Ancher, Anne; Sandby, Vibeke; Agerholm, Pernille; Agerholm, Jens; Sir, Ida Marie. 2000. Skagensstrafaced Vaninda, Agerholm. ISBN 97887987939-1-5. Anderson, Arnold. 1992. Fra Dampelefant til Dollegren. Trafikhistorisk glit fra vejtrafik og jernbaner og omkring Frederikshavn. Sarebjørg Skagen. In Danish. S. A. L. ISBN 87-89340051. Anderson, Paul Carrot. Secker, Alex. 1980. Skagen I Fort of Dog Muted. In Danish. Carrot Anderson. ISBN 97887-424-42555. Christensen, Erling S. 1987. Natur og menneskepar Skagens Odde. In Danish. Bakeland. ISBN 97887-982532-1-1. Folsach. Birgitte von Samling. C. L. David's Fawn Dog. 1996. By the Light of the Crescent Moon. Images of the Near East in Danish Art and Literature. 1800 to 1875. David Collection. ISBN 97878938439-9. Jensen, Berth. 2011. Sweet on Denmark. Images Publishing. ISBN 978186470-350-4. Kligard, Carl. 1928. Skagen Bys Historien til ca. 1870. In Danish. I commission Hosboghandler E. Nielsen, L. Schjeldt FTF. Lindborg, Lisbeth. Lindvist, Lars. 2013. The Value of Arts and Culture for Regional Development. A Scandinavian Perspective. Routledge. ISBN 978-1-136-76080-8. Lonely Planet. 2005. Denmark. Lonely Planet. ISBN 978174059-489-9. Lonely Planet. Scandinavian Europe. 2009. Scandinavian Europe. Lonely Planet. ISBN 978174104-928-2. Lonely Planet. 2009. Europe on a Shoestring. Lonely Planet. ISBN 978174220-334-8. Olavius, Klaus. 1787. Økonomisk fysisk beskrivelse over Skagenske Opstad og Sogn. Forfattet I Folkekongelig Order. In Danish. Olsen, Elizabeth. 2011. Denmark Travel Adventures. Hunter Publishing, Inc. ISBN 978158843-707-5. Osborne, Caroline. Mouritsen, Lone. 2010. The Rough Guide to Denmark. Penguin. ISBN 978184836-962-7. Porter, Darwin. Prince. Danforth. 2009. From Is Denmark. John Wiley & Sons. ISBN 978-0-470-50290-7. Porter, Darwin. Prince. Danforth. Norham. Roger. 2011. From Is Scandinavia. John Wiley & Sons. ISBN 978-1118-09023-7. Rough Guides. 2003. Scandinavia. Rough Guides. ISBN 978-1-84353-218-7. Stensgaard, Pernille. 2004. Skagen. In Danish. Jutland S. ISBN 978-8702-020892. Svanholm, Lise. 2001. Malern par Skagen. In Danish. Jutland S. ISBN 8700-75184-7. Svanholm, Lise. 2004. Northern Light. The Skagen Painters. Jutland S. ISBN 978-8702-02817-1. Svanholm, Lise. 2003. Skagen Äsɡæːɪn. Malern. Modelin. Bergen og Stedern. Jutland S. ISBN 978-8702-01947-6. Thagard, CHR. 1967. Blade af Skagens historie. In Danish. Ejner Nielsens Boghandel. Tunsen. Jens. 1946. Detsven ni Skagen fortæller. Om fiskeren og om fiskeriets og strandingens by Saa Lajenge den har været til. In Danish. Voss. Knud. 1989. Skagen i nordisk kunst. In Danish. Skagens Museum. ISBN 978877600-039-4. Skagen Tourist Board website, the official guide to the Skagen area. Skagen Guide, a guide to the Skagen area.